Cool. We back. We got a lot to talk about.
Oh man.
A lot to talk about. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let you lead this. I'm gonna let you lead this segment. What we talking about?
Okay, so let's do this 1st 100 days in office, Donald Trump. Give me your grade, your overall grade. First 100 days in office. Go.
I'm gonna give you the grade that the polls is giving. The polls is giving that he has a 44% approval rating.
Shit.
He has the lowest approval rating of any modern president in the past like 20, 30 years.
Yes.
Even his own approval rate from his first term, he's lower than that.
Yes.
So based on what the people, just the way the people see it, only 38% of the people approve of his economy. So therefore, he gets an F. Because anything that's under, if we gonna do it on a grading
You
scale.
can't say an F though.
We're gonna do it on a grading scale. If you got a 44% approval,
That's an F.
that's an F.
That's an F.
It's no other way to spin
That's
it.
enough.
I mean, even Joe Biden had a higher rating. Obama had a higher rating. Trump had a higher rating his first term. So for you to give him anything higher than that, it wouldn't make sense when he's low. He performing lower than his first term in his first 100 days. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna say a F because he made a lot of promises, and what he did was he made a lot of day one promises, and a lot of people who voted for him, they believed these promises. He said, "I'm gonna give you some. Day one, I will end the wars."
He did say that.
He said that'll be easy. I'll just make
He
a phone
said that.
call, and I'll get Putin on the line, and I'll get so and so on the line, and that war will be over. He said he would end the war Hamas.
That's not done either.
He said he would do all this day. He said it ain't people. See, people get expectations.
Student unforgiveness.
People get expectations, and what he said is two different things. We don't expect nobody to fix nothing in day one. But if you out here saying that on the campaign trail constantly over and over and over, then people are going to believe it.
Well, that's the thing about politics. And
But how many politicians ever say day one though? We ain't talking about term one. We talking about.
but let me advance the conversation, right?
Before you do that, he said he was going to end the wars. He said that he was gonna give he was gonna take care of student loans.
Student forgiveness, yep.
He said that we was gonna have the greatest healthcare plan. He said that he was gonna deport all the criminals, not just random people. He said he was gonna build a wall, and he's gonna put all this extra border security, and it's gonna be impossible to cross.
That was also from his first term too.
But this is what he said this second term though.
Yeah.
He said he was gonna lower the grocery prices.
He did say that.
He said the gas prices was gonna go down.
He did say that too.
So based on everything,
And these are little intangibles that you can fix. You can fix.
And he signed over 100 executive orders, but none of these orders were on what he said he was gonna do. You understand what the problem is at?
Well, but that's the thing though. When running a second term,
Uh-huh.
you still have to take into account of the things that Joe Biden already put into place while he was in office, because a lot of that stuff doesn't trickle out until that second 4 to 8 years, as far as policies being demonstrated that they voted on. Now the thing with Trump is he believes for some reason he can supersede the House of Representatives, he can supersede the federal government, he can supersede all of these people, and he thinks that what he says go.
And what is that mindset? A dictator.
It is very much a dictator.
What about the fact that right now his website, he got a Trump 2028 hat for sale?
No fucking way.
Look it up.
He can only do 2 terms of 4 years.
He's trying to find a loophole to run 3 terms.
No
right now.
fucking way.
Bro, that's why we use Google around here, right?
Yo, that's fucking wild. But I would say for his grade though, right? I know he's it's right there in your face.
On the MAGA.com.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Show the camera that work, man. That's crazy, bro.
Can't make it up. This is on MAGA.com.
That's crazy.
This is his website. So the thing is, let's go back to what Kamala said real quick. Kamala said that he wants to be a dictator because he said he wanted to be a dictator. And he was like, everybody's like, oh no, he don't mean that. Every time he say stuff that's like that, he don't mean it.
But
then when he say good things, he do mean it.
look at his history though.
But his history shows Now the history.
He does the bait and switch. He said, like,
But-
if you want to look at the stocks per se, right?
Yeah.
When we started talking about the stocks,
Yeah.
and we were saying how me and you was hipped on to the game as far as what he was doing and saying, hey, let me say this about this stock. It's gonna go at its lowest point.
Yeah.
He's gonna call all his friends, tell them to buy.
Yeah.
Trump it all up and bang, get rid of that shit. And they done that not once, not twice, but 3 times,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
3 times back to back. And that lets me know that it's either the American people are extremely dumb or Donald Trump is extremely smart.
I think the American people are extremely dumb.
I think the American people are
I
extremely
can't give
dumb.
him that much credit because I'm gonna say why I say that, because if you smart and you really got a game plan, then you don't have to really, you just have to just do it. You don't have to be out there like selling it.
Well, no,
He's constantly selling.
what
propaganda,
happens
bro.
is America takes Trump for face value.
Some on certain things.
Yeah.
But when he said I want to be a dictator, when he said this and I'm going to run for president 2028 and all these things, then they say he's not going to do that. But then he goes on news. He said, no, I am going to do it.
Right.
When he said that I want to make Canada a 51st state.
Right.
I want to annex Canada, make it a 51st state. And then everybody, oh, he don't really mean that. All of these people, the Fox News and all these people, his spokespeople, oh, he don't. And then he came out. And then he sat down.
He damn sure
and interviewed.
did.
He said, no, I really meant it. So what happens is a lot of times the media and MAGA people and right wing people like to say when it's some BS, we're gonna say he didn't mean that.
He didn't mean that.
He don't mean that. He don't mean
Just
that.
like he didn't mean
But-
the good folks down there that was protesting, and that's another
what I'm
thing.
saying.
That's another thing. When we talk about protests, and there's a significant difference between black people protesting and white people
Definitely.
protesting. I just watched some shit where white people were protesting, bro, and they said, why aren't there bounce houses and fun activities to do while protesting? Because this is not what you do at a protest,
Because this is
ma'am.
America.
You don't have bounce houses at a fucking protest, bro.
Yeah. I agree.
He's even had people that stormed the White House pardoned
Yes.
because of their
They
actions.
stormed the Capitol. They broke in the Capitol. They beat the police, and he pardoned.
He
them.
pardoned them.
And I seen people go to jail for touching a canine dog,
Not
walking
only
by
that,
slapping the horse on the butt just to be funny. I seen people get arrested for that.
he
kind of stuff.
wants to put the death penalty
Yeah,
on people selling drugs.
exactly. And who is that going to affect?
The black and brown people.
And who voted for him?
The black and brown people.
So that's the thing. So when he said that he wants to get a police full immunity from being prosecuted.
From being prosecuted, yep.
I'm just trying to understand, how is it that the black and brown people vote for somebody who said literally, I'm gonna get y'all the death sentence if I get doing drugs. I'm gonna, and they know the police.
Okay.
They know the police are biased. You know the police are
I
biased.
definitely know.
I got police stories. I can give you one, and I know you. Got
I got tons of them.
So the reality is, right? It don't matter how clean you try to live your life, how clean you try to do things, and how you try to drive at a normal speed, and how you try to follow all the laws. People forget when you black in America,
Come on, man.
it
Talk.
don't matter.
Talk.
And you know the last time when something happened to me by the police, bro, literally, they say a man ain't supposed to cry, but bro, I almost cried, bro. Literally, I almost broke out in tears and started crying. And the reason why was because not for me. I got a son that's driving now, bro. My son's 17. Just got
Man,
his
my
license.
son's in a car, bro.
My son just got his license though. I know how to deal with it. I know I can take it when they come and mess with me over some BS.
That's a fact.
Tell me to get out the car and put my hands behind my back when I did nothing wrong.
Facts.
And what happened to you, you know how to deal with it.
Facts.
But how you gonna feel though when your son get his license and he got to deal with
And
it?
it's a different millennium.
But how does your son deal with it when he don't know how to deal with it? Because we were built with tougher skin
Yeah.
because of the stuff that we endured. So how does a black kid that's 16, 17, first time getting a license, deal with the stuff that happened to you? And let's give them in a nutshell kind of what happened to you so people can know.
So we'll give him just one.
Yeah, just a nutshell.
We'll go to the recent arrest.
That's what I'm saying, the
where I was pulled over, mind you, unmarked cars, by the way. So I had no knowledge of them actually being a police officer because they're in a fucking Kia in a Ford F-150. I've never been on the road and got pulled over by a Ford F-150 in a fucking Kia. Okay? Mind you, they wanted me to stop at the top of North Boulevard Bridge where it's completely dark and it's a lot of traffic on there. And I have my 2 small children in the car, which is 12 and 10 at the time.
Yeah.
So once they get behind me and pull me, they wanted me to stop at the top of the bridge, which I refused to stop. And I said, no, I'm going to go to the bottom of the bridge where it's lit up and there's people around. And that way I know I'm a little safe. Not a lot safe, but I know if they really did me dirty, somebody was going to record that shit. Which I'm currently trying to get the body cam footage for the arrest. But to no avail, these 3 officers, unmarked car, get out the car, block me in, then proceed to go inside. And all of this was because my tag was 2 days expired. 2 days expired.
So we know we're gonna get the people in the comments, right? You know what's gonna happen. That's gonna say, well, you were disobeying the law. You should have had your tag.
You're absolutely
and that's
right.
one point. That's one point. We know that's gonna come up.
Well, no.
What happened after the fact is where we at.
But mind you, I want to actually play videos. I actually got videos of 5 arrests with people with expired tag, and they were all white. Guess what the officer did to them? They let them go with a warning and said, "Hey, get that fixed."
Yeah.
They didn't even ask for their license. They didn't ask for their registration. They didn't ask for their insurance. They came up on the car. And matter of fact, it was. And I don't mean to put this one white lady. Her name was Pam. They came up on this white lady named Miss Pam. She had her kids in the car. Her tag was expired for almost 6 months, bro. Yeah. They came over to that white lady and said, "Hey, you know your tag is expired." She said, "Oh my gosh, my husband usually pay all of the bills and he just got laid off." Gave him the story. Say, "Okay, ma'am, just make sure you get it taken care of."
Out of there. But what happened to you though?
I, on the other hand, I didn't even know I was being pulled over for an expired tag until I actually went to jail. So I end up getting arrested, getting thrown out my car, pulled out my car, physically assaulted, slammed on the ground, slammed on the hood, slammed on the side of the car, all while my kids is watching this, each step that they're doing. Strip search not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. After me being stripped for the 4th time, the transporting officer say, "Hey, I know that guy. That's the dude that be in city council. That's the dude that was responsible for the protests in March. That's the same dude that we had to escort downtown when we didn't want to in a blazing sun with 300 people behind him. Yeah, we're going to make sure you stay in jail."
That's crazy, man.
So this went from a simple resisting arrest without violence.
Yeah.
Resisting arrest without violence. So I tell the police officer, I say, "Hey, look, I got my kids with me. You don't have to do this." They're going to R&R me because this is a class A miss. This is not even a real misdemeanor, bro.
Yeah,
you really wasting our time at this point. But the officer wanted to exert so much authority that he said, "No, we're going to prosecute to the fullest." When I get to the police station and they check me again for the 5th time, mysteriously they find weed in my left pocket. Mysteriously. So, of course, I act an ass. Like, bro, hell no. You ain't, no, that's not going down. So the minute I act an ass, defending myself, I get stripped butt naked, put in a turtle suit, and put in a 4-hour holding tank. All for an expired tag from 2 days, bro.
This is Trump America, right? And this is what people voted for, right?
This is what
So
people
what
voted
happens
for.
in the next 4 years? This is just within the first. So do you feel? Do you feel, like I said, for yourself and for your kids, and the way I feel for my kids, that the way things are going?
I would say I fear more for my kids. One,
Yeah.
because they know I'm semi-activist and I've played a role in that, and my kids have been with me during the process of all of my activist movements. They had a chance to meet Barack Obama. They had a chance to meet fucking Andrew Gillum, Jane Castor. Like, they've been around, so they know exactly what's going on. So my oldest son, I feel, will try to follow in those same footsteps because he's very outspoken, very smart. He's gonna be able to say, you know what? He's even reading law.
Gotcha.
You feel me? So I know they're gonna give him a hard time. He's gonna have to protect his younger brother because now his younger brother, seeing me get arrested, he now hates the police. He's saying that when he see the police, he gonna do X, Y, Z. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, you
can't do
just
that.
chill. But
can't do that. Yeah.
But kids are fearless.
I understand.
They don't care about
They don't
that.
know. They don't.
You know what I'm saying?
So this is the thing, man. Like, so when you going back to this first 100 days in office,
Yes.
the grade, the executive orders, the actions they taking, some of the stuff that MAGA represent.
Even this ICE shit, bro. Like, they really went. So come to find out, he arrests all of these people, ship them off, and these people supposedly had criminal backgrounds. Not one of them motherfuckers had a criminal background.
Yeah. Now that's why I said when he said he's going to deport the criminals, he's not deporting the criminals. They run it up on people in food trucks and people who are actually
He
working.
say food
That's what they
trucks.
doing.
No,
bro.
they is.
They
They
run up on
is.
people in food trucks and people
Home
out there
Depot.
working. And they grabbing people and they don't care if they got a record. If they skin ain't a certain kind of color and they look a certain kind of way,
Yes.
what's happening is they taking them and they shipping them off to El Salvador and you know, they taking people who have 0 criminal records and they're trying to say they're part of this MS-13 gang that's supposed to be so bad. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I never see no MS-13 gang nothing ever.
No.
So-
Not
so this
only in
whole-
like California, maybe, or
But is
Los
it-
Angeles
but
somewhere.
could it be that serious that the
It's
way we
not.
speak of this?
It's not, because if MS-13 was that much of a powerful gang, they'd already be depleted.
And if we care about them so much, then if the government care about gang activity so much, why don't go after the GDs? Why don't go after
Vice
the Bloods?
Lords, Bloods.
Why don't go after Latin Kings?
Look,
Why don't go about the real gang? So is it really about gangs, or is it just about grabbing people and trying to associate them?
it's about demographic.
Okay,
It's
that's what
about
I'm getting at.
demographic. It's about who we can control with less friction.
Yeah.
It's about who we can do and what we can do to the people that's
Who are
gonna
powerless.
less friction. Because what can they really do?
They powerless people too.
What can they really do? Who gonna fight on their behalf? You feel me? At least with a lot of black people, some black people gonna stand in the paint. They gonna be like, hell no, nigga, fuck you.
But why
Nah, we
should we
not.
stand for them when you look at the amount of
We
Hispanics
shouldn't.
that voted for Trump and the fact that they stood with Donald Trump and they made songs and they had fiestas about standing with Donald Trump. And now they saying that we need to come together.
Yeah.
What was that energy when we were tell them that we need to
fucked
do
up.
that? What was that energy at though?
It's obsolete. It's
So
depleted.
the reality is like for the black people that voted for Trump, it's a smaller percentage, but the amount of Hispanic, 40% of the Hispanic vote.
A lot of Hispanics voted because, but that was under false pretense and saying that Trump was gonna do something that he
But-
didn't do.
I get that, but
You
the
feel
reality
me?
is, I get all that, but the reality is this is what they try, people forget, he had 4 years already.
Yes.
He said he was going to do all these things his first 4 years. He didn't do them.
Well, what
did he do in
pacified
his first 4 years?
what pacified that situation was the stimulus.
But why do we get the stimulus?
Hold on.
No.
I don't want us to get off course. But what pacified the
Okay.
situation was the stimulus.
I understand.
The stimulus is exactly why people put him into the
Of course.
office again
Of
the
course.
second round because they're like, hey, we need to get some out of this shit. And one thing that I always say about any presidential election or campaign, me being an independent voter, I don't, respect Democrat or Republic. I'm independent. I want to go for the motherfucker that's going to do something. And I've said this every year.
Gotcha.
If they don't create specific laws for black people or reparations for black people, they will no longer get my vote or be a part of that system or society. Because it's so funny that y'all can create all of these different laws and rules and shit catered for the LGBT community, the Asian community, the fucking the Hispanic community, the trans community. Like, y'all can create all these laws where it benefits them personally, even down to them just having a regular fist fight is considered a hate crime. where black people have been getting abused, fucking mishandled, fucking false imprisonment, like for years, slavery. Like we went through all of this shit and still no reparations, no type of funding.
But people forget though. The politicians do talk reparations. They do talk about doing things for black people. But the problem is you got black people, and I know some black people ain't gonna like this, that want to go against the black people and be
Fuck
like,
no.
No, you do. They be like, oh, they just want a handout. They just don't want to
Fuck
work.
no.
I hear them saying it all the time.
Fuck
bro.
no.
So you never hear black people say that?
Never.
You never heard a black
Never.
person? You never heard
I've never heard that.
You never heard a black person
I've never
say
heard that.
You never heard a black person say that black people don't want to do nothing.
Okay, I take that back. I have heard black people say some black niggas are lazy.
Yeah, but the reality is, right, we got to stop saying about ourselves first. We
do.
We see what happens if one of us say it, right, then that makes the media. That all it takes is one of us to one politician that's black to go up there and say like Byron Donalds or one of these kind of,
well,
but they think that represent the black when
I was just gonna say that one voice doesn't speak to the whole entire
but
black
in a way
community.
it does, because what happens when they speak, then they can take and say what even Byron Donalds said.
Yeah, that's no different
so-
from Ben Carson when he was doing
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So the part of what I'm saying is that the reason why you're going to have those people is because of people like that
right.
exist. And
Right.
now we got something to distract us from what really needs to be done. Because if you watch what Byron Donalds ran on, Byron Donalds is from out of Florida.
Yep.
He thought he was going to be the vice president. He did a
Yep.
lot to try to help Trump win. If you watch what he ran on, you watch what a lot of stuff that came out of his mouth, it was that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was degrading the black population.
And what happens is now you giving them fuel to say it wasn't us that said it.
Well, what it is that they gotta
And
have.
they think that he represent us. We know he don't represent us, but the reality is, he becomes a distraction from what needs to get done.
But you know what they do to the people that represents us? And this shout out my homeboy Andrew Gillum. You know what I'm saying? I still think that was
I
crazy.
mean, like they distort you.
Bro, they'll fucking extort you, destroy you, and
Yeah.
get you the fuck out of here, bro.
But the thing is, that's why I feel like black people need to understand. You need to take what you can get, the baby steps. See, people be wanting somebody. When Kamala said, "I can't just do stuff for black people," that's baby steps. You can't just go out there and say, because what happens
You can't
is,
say that.
but that's what they wanted her to say. If she said that, right? You just said what would happen.
Yeah,
So
of
you
course.
you have to just take baby steps. You have to. I heard some black people that was, she not even for black people. She not even really black, and she said she not gonna do stuff just for black people because they don't understand. When Obama, even when Obama, you can't just say that because you know
Yes.
what happens when you say I'm gonna do this for the black people.
Even down to your origin
Even
of
if
race.
a white person says I'm gonna do this for the black people,
Yes.
it's not gonna work.
Bernie Sanders.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So the reality is, I feel like black people, black voters need to understand. Take what you can get and build off of it, right? Because we always like to say, I ain't vote for none of them. Ain't none of them doing that for the black people. So if that's the case, which one represents more of you when you look at them? Which one do you see more in yourself? Do you see a Donald Trump that's a billionaire, was born a billionaire? Or do you see a Kamala that came from a black family, went to HBCU? You see what I'm saying?
Well,
let's take aside from everything and look at which one do you see more of yourself? Which one represents you the most just by their status, by what they come from, their upbringing? Which one represents you more?
Well, if we're
rich billionaire, hear me out though, or the person that went to HBCU and went and got out the mud?
Well, if it's being reflective of black people, of course Kamala would be the easy answer. But politics don't shake like that. You and I know that.
They don't say like that because I'm telling you what, I'm going back to us, the black people. We want somebody to come out and say,
nigga, this is what we doing for the black folks.
You can't
Nigga,
do
you
it.
can't do it. You can't do it.
It can't be done. So
can't
for a
do
person to, and a lot of people in this election, they were saying she not even black, but so he black. So you think a man that was born as a billionaire, inherited billions, could represent anything, could even understand?
Can't even close.
Never
Not
had
even a mere
real job.
fraction.
He only had jobs where it was his companies.
But even still, like, how can we allow a regular civilian privy information to fucking G14 classified shit, bro?
I know, but what I'm saying is that we the black people in this election, not to go off topic these first 100 days, I think the black people who voted for Trump. I wonder how they feel right now. I wonder, do they feel like they getting everything that they voted for? Like, is it adding up for them?
Ask yourself this question. If they felt like he was doing his job, they'd be more vocal. Why aren't they more vocal?
That's the question. Why aren't they?
Because he's not doing his job. That's why.
So we basically agree that going back to the discussion, his grade is not great.
100 days in office, I give him a D-. I don't give him an F.
I'm gonna give him an F-.
I don't give him an F because
what has he done?
Well,
what good has he done? Give me one good thing.
Well, I would say this, right? The tariffs, you can look at it as a good thing and a bad thing, because this is showing countries' true hand. Like, we had no idea that China was really undervaluing all the prices of these high-end fashions. It took tariffs to be able to say, hey, look, hold on, look.
Go ahead.
It took tariffs for Chinese or the China people to be like, hey, look, this is what you guys are paying for. This is where it's coming from. This is how it's made. If you want to go direct to consumer purchase and really have this done, you can do XYZ, get it shipped, blah, 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 blah. Prior to that, they were closed mouths because they were getting a certain percentage on all of that shit. But now, since the tariffs is what it is, now we get to see exactly what business regimen that they're running. So this makes the country look at not just the China people, but other brands as well. Lululemon. Now we find out that Lululemon is the...
Let's be honest.
I'm just saying.
Let's be honest.
The tariffs is a gift and a curse.
How many of us know that was actually going on?
I didn't.
Okay, so you never knew that basically they're saying made in Italy and made in these places made in China. You never knew that.
I didn't, to a certain extent, as far as the pricing.
This is the thing people don't understand. Let me tell you something about tariffs and about bringing the jobs back.
Which we've always had tariffs.
Let's speak about.
Let's put that out. We've always had tariffs.
Let's speak about manufacturing and tariffs and bringing jobs back to America, right? Mm-hmm. What people don't understand is that we don't have the manpower to run. We don't have the manpower to run these factories. It's jobs right now that's hiring everywhere. Right now. We don't have enough people to fill these positions.
Is that because people don't want to work, or?
So what happens when you bring back a factory, right? That has to house 1,000 people probably on assembly line, in 2025 in America, that's gonna stand there and work on something with their hands.
With millennials.
You really think they're gonna sit there and
hell no
and assemble this camera screw by screw, piece by piece?
Hell no.
Do you think that I'm going to pass it to you, you're going to put the screen on, it's going to go down, he's going to put the button on? Do you really think that we got the manpower to do it? And if we do, how much is this camera going to cost?
That part. That's where I was getting.
That's what I'm getting at. So the
now, mind you, even the people that work in the factory, they want to be compensated top dollar for doing this shit. Them niggas over there only maxing out $5-10 an hour type shit.
That's the point I'm trying to get at. And the reason why they're doing it and why it works is because a couple things. Food and everything is cheap over there. The cost of living, they don't have all these extra taxes. And
right.
So they might make $10 an hour, but their $10 an hour go further. The $10 out.
Oh, for sure, because the cost of living is down.
So we look at it and people say, "Oh, but that's not fair. How we doing them? They only making $5 an hour." But bro, you can go get a whole meal for $1.
For $1.
So that $5 ain't what we see it as in America. It's not U.S. dollars. It's over there. You can get an apartment right now, probably U.S. dollars, probably $200 a month.
And they feed them at fucking
that's
work,
what I'm trying to tell
bro.
you.
They have fucking lunch for their workers, bruh.
This is the last thing I'm going to say. Plus, people forget the fact that China has 1.4 billion people.
Yes, bro.
America has 300 million people.
Bro.
They have 5 times the amount of people that we have. So you talk about people who need labor and can get it done? That's what's going to happen. So this is the reason why everything is made in China, because every country is going to say, who has the manpower?
No, that's a fact.
Who has the manpower? Who's going to do the work? You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
And we know
for the price.
For the price.
And that's not gonna happen in the U.S. Look, bro, we so entitled.
So are the tariffs gonna bring the jobs back?
No, they're not. But that's what I'm saying. I can't completely, like I said, give him an F, because his efforts, where they may not be, to our liking, but what it is doing is showing us the play. Now, if niggas paying attention to what the play is, we can capitalize off of this shit and be able to use it for our own. But niggas is not doing that. We're more worried about the why instead of the execution. Well, why did they do that? Why did they do this? Why we can't do that? Why we can't? Instead of saying, oh, that's what they doing? I bet. Let me go and get my shit together. Let me get my LLC. Let me buy up a bunch of merch and open up my own independent.
From China.
You hear me?
But that's the reality, though.
And open up my own independent shop. Now I know exactly where to go and outsource my shit and get like, bro, come on. Had that not happened, we still be buying these high-end fashion designer
still
shit.
gonna buy
Top. No, they won't.
They still gonna buy it.
Nah.
I see people. Let's go to the mall, bro. We can take a trip.
We can go. We can,
right,
bro.
man.
Listen, they not buying
It get
that
real
shit.
political over here, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, man. We going up.